Extending the right hand to another was an important part of the cultural landscape of ancient Israel. It was used as a token of submission when Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon conquered Israel during the time of Jeremiah. To give one's hand means to stretch forth the right hand in submission. The giving of the right hand was also symbolic of fealty to one's own liege lord. This was the case at the accession to the throne by Solomon, where the officers and sons of King David pledged their loyalty. The pledge, according to the original Hebrew, was made by giving the right hand. The extending of the hand as submission or loyalty was not a one-sided gesture. The one receiving the token had to accept and thereby respond in kind. The two-way gesture was a clasping of the hands. This is made explicit in the story of Jehu and Jehonadab. It appears to the modern reader that the offering of hands was simply to enable Jehonadab to easily get into the chariot. But this is not the case within the ancient context. The clasping of hands was a token of loyalty, which was the express purpose of giving the hand. The giving and clasping of right hands was a token or oath of pledge. In the time of Ezra the priest, when the Jews were allowed to rebuild the temple, those that returned with Ezra made a solemn covenant with their right hands to put away their non-covenant wives. Zedekiah broke his alliance with the king of Babylon, which he had entered into with an oath sealed by giving his right hand. Proverbs indicates that the Israelites exchanged pledges by shaking hands with foreigners, meaning the practice was not limited to Israel. Indeed, the practice was known throughout classical antiquity. When Glaucus met Diomedes on the battlefield in face-to-face combat during the Trojan War, they first talked. After their talk, the two decided to form a friendly alliance. They did so by exchanging armor and shaking hands. The shaking hands was also a token of an oath of peace in ancient Rome as well. When the second triumvirate was formed between Caesar Augustus, Mark Antony, and Marcus Lepidus, they joined hands. Clasping of hands, as in the modern practice, was a ritual greeting and confirmation of friendship. In Virgil's Aeneid, King Aeneas and Anchises clasped hands when reuniting with each other. Anchises also shook the right hand of Ecumenides as a sign of ready trust. King Hezekiah sent letters throughout Israel and Judah, as well as Ephraim and Manasseh, to come to the Temple of Jerusalem to observe the Passover. In the proclamation of invitation, the king exhorted the Israelites to turn back to the Lord. In part, the decree stated the following. The Hebrew interpreted as yield, literally translated, is give your hand to Jehovah. A covenant to the Lord was symbolically enacted by shaking his hand. In the time of the Apostle Paul, clasping right hands amongst the members of the church was called the right hands of fellowship. Peter, James, and John extended the right hand to fellowship to Paul and Barnabas. This particular right hand of fellowship was a form of covenant where Paul and Barnabas were accepted as fellow missionaries. The shaking of right hands in fellowship continues to this day. In many Christian denominations, the ritual signifies formal acceptance into the congregation. Though Latter-day Saints do not have a formal or ritualized right hand of fellowship, they are acclaimed handshakers. Leaders counsel members to shake the hands of visitors and the less active. The extended right hand is also used in missionary tool, as in this Mormon ad.